Storm Kira caused problems not only for fans but for players on the field of play, and it certainly the Scotland-England game. That was the worst conditions I've ever seen as a player or coach. I played in some pretty bad weather down in New Zealand a couple of times. But what fascinated me was the players didn't really handle that well. The number of kicks from all sides that went out on the full or didn't go where they're meant to be. And the key thing to me when you're playing in really bad weather is kick the ball on the floor. And that made me recycle a couple of times and put it on the floor. And England's try came from just put it on the floor, Hogg couldn't handle it, and we scored the try from the scrum. But I just don't think either side or any of the sides have really practiced how to do this. And you know, the next World Cup is in France, in Paris, and that could be the weather on the day. So you need to practice this. You don't need to practice in bad weather, but I was really quite disappointed with the skill set and how all the teams handled it. And because the game was to be won, but I don't think tactically either side played it that well, especially the England-Scotland game. Really pleased again. I'm 100% done my forecasting so far, so I tipped England to win, just because it was a better selected team. I think Jones did make some big mistakes in terms of selection against the French team. This was a far better selected team, and they played very, very well. And for the first time, I saw some real energy and some passion since the World Cup final. And I looked at the England forward pack potentially. I really like Genge, by the way. When Genge came on, you got a potential England team that's Sinclair, George, Genge, Amaro, Cruz, and the back row of Underhill, Curry, and Billy Vunipola. That can go for 4 years. My big thing is still about the substitutes. I still think every team is substituting too early. But that England forward pack is something that any coach would love to have. I think England now in a good place. They've got their kind of edge back and their passion back, and that was a huge win for me. I think history will say that was a massive win in terrible conditions. So I think it's all good for England, and they'll have a really good week now, a good couple of weeks now preparing for the Ireland game. The Ireland-Wales game, but first of all, really pleased for Andy Farrell to see an English coach, just come in. Because what happens in coaching, you never know till you're in the seat. There's a massive difference between being an assistant or number 2 or number 1. So Farrell's now in the seat. He would just be able to wake up in the morning, look in the mirror and go, yeah, I can do this. And I'm a huge fan of both Farrells, both the Farrell, the coach, and also his son, obviously. But I remember Farrell, the coach now of Ireland, playing for Wigan at Rugby League. This is a tough guy. He's a no-nonsense guy, and that will reflect how he coaches. So I think Ireland have been really clever in choosing Farrell. Great, he's got his 2 wins under his game, and this is a really spicy encounter now when Ireland come to England. But there's no doubt, teams play in the way the coach prepares them, the DNA, the personality of the coach. And Ireland looked a really good side, really passionate, enthusiasm. The amount of enthusiasm from the players was great. So just well done, Andy Farrell. And I think that's fantastic that he's in such a place. Yeah, watched the France and Italy game. It was what I thought would happen. The mind is a strange thing in sport, but especially with rugby. The French were massively up a week ago to play England, played fantastic well. Today, everyone expected them to win. Everyone went to watch a cricket score, and they just lost their focus, lost their discipline. You could see that frustration from the coaches. Again, Sean Edwards, the English coach, coaching the French defence team, you see his frustration. So, but I think for France it's probably a good thing because they won't get carried away now. They're going to have a tough couple of weeks, led by Sean Edwards in terms of their preparation for Wales away. And I wasn't surprised. I thought France would win definitely, but I thought it'd be a close game. And the worst part of the game when at the end, when the Italians needed one try to win a bonus point. The Italian centre, whose name's I've just forgotten, kicked the ball out when under no pressure, where they had to play. I mean, it almost summed up Italian rugby to me, and I just shook my head. And I'd have gone absolutely epileptic if I'd been coaching Italy on that one moment alone. It almost summed up the Italian rugby at the moment, where they're just not thinking about what they're doing. And it was a sad end to the Six Nations weekend, really, because Italy had a chance to actually get a bonus point, and they just took it was not even the easy option, just kicked it out, which is, I just want to pin that guy to the wall and go, what on earth were you doing? What's this all about? So, but a great weekend of rugby, a week's break, 2 weeks breaks now, and some fantastic games in 2 weeks' time. Obviously headed up by England, Ireland at Twickenham, which is going to be an absolute humdinger. The hardest game to predict will be is going to be England, Ireland. I can never see England losing at Twickenham ever. So I think after the win against Scotland, they should be good enough to see off Ireland. France going to Wales is going to be a really interesting game to see what what France can do. But I see Wales winning that because they have to win that. Again, playing at home, I think is a big advantage. Be interested to see if Liam Williams comes back. I think they've got a couple of players maybe coming back from injury. So I see Wales beating France, which would be an interesting game. Scotland, Italy, again. I have to say, with all going on in Scottish rugby, reading the papers over the weekend about the Finn Russell stuff, Scotland are in a bigger hole than I thought. I didn't realise this was such a big story, and it really, really is. So I can see, if you call it an upset, I can see Italy winning that game because they're not a bad side, Italy, and they're playing at home, and Scotland just really seem to be in a hole, and this Finn Russell thing is not going to go away, and he's really has caused so much problems now for his coach, Townsend. So I feel for Gregor Townsend as a coach. I'd hate to be, I've never been in that position where I've had almost a mutiny from one player, especially your best player. So I think this is affecting Scottish rugby now, and I can see Italy winning that game. So for me, not sitting on the fence, 3 home wins in a couple of weeks' time.